She stood silently, one hand resting on her pregnant belly while tears filled her eyes. In front of dozens of employees, the billionaire accused her of betrayal and ordered security to throw her out immediately. She begged for only one chance to explain, but nobody listened. Months later, a single DNA test landed on his desk. His hand started shaking. The woman he had humiliated wasn't hiding a lie, she had been protecting the biggest truth of his life. By the time he realized it, she had already disappeared, leaving behind a heartbreaking secret that would change everything forever. Every morning before sunrise, the young maid quietly cleaned the enormous mansion while everyone else was asleep. She never complained, even when exhausted, because she needed the job to support her sick mother and the unborn child growing inside her. Although she was surrounded by luxury every day, she owned almost nothing except hope, kindness, and the dream that someday her baby would live a better life than she ever had. The billionaire rarely noticed the people working inside his mansion. His world revolved around business meetings, endless investments, and protecting the powerful reputation his family had built over generations. After being betrayed by people he once trusted, he believed that everyone wanted something from him. Because of that painful belief, he kept his heart locked away, refusing to trust anyone, no matter how honest they appeared. One afternoon, while carrying a heavy basket of laundry upstairs, the maid suddenly became dizzy. She tried to keep working, but her vision blurred before she collapsed onto the polished floor. Several employees rushed to help her. When she slowly opened her eyes, the housekeeper realized she was pregnant. Within minutes, whispers spread throughout the mansion, turning concern into dangerous rumors that reached every corner of the estate. By evening, the rumors had become even more shocking. Some workers secretly claimed the unborn baby belonged to someone wealthy inside the mansion. Others invented stories without knowing a single fact. Fear spread faster than the truth ever could. Standing outside his office, the billionaire overheard fragments of those conversations. Without asking questions or searching for evidence, anger quickly replaced reason inside his heart. The next morning, every employee was ordered into the grand hall. The maid stood trembling as everyone watched. The billionaire stared at her with disappointment and suspicion, convinced she had brought shame into his home. Before she could explain anything, he accused her of dishonesty and violating his trust. His cold voice echoed through the mansion as he fired her immediately in front of everyone. Tears streamed down her face as she begged for only a few minutes to explain the truth. She wasn't asking for money or sympathy. She simply wanted someone to listen before judging her. But nobody stepped forward. The billionaire refused to hear another word and ordered security to escort her outside. Holding her stomach protectively, she walked away with nothing except heartbreak and silent dignity. Days passed. Yet something continued to trouble the elderly housekeeper. She had worked in the mansion for decades and believed the young woman was incapable of deception. Quietly, she searched through forgotten records, old photographs, and personal belongings left behind. During her search, she discovered an old envelope hidden inside a drawer, containing information that raised disturbing questions no one had ever considered before. Meanwhile, the maid struggled to survive. She rented a tiny room above a small bakery and worked whenever her health allowed. Even while carrying her unborn child, she refused to give up. The bakery owners admired her honesty and kindness, often helping with meals when she could not afford food. Despite losing everything, she never allowed bitterness to replace the compassion that defined her character. Back at the mansion, strange details slowly began connecting together. The elderly housekeeper remembered a tragic night years earlier involving a family accident, missing medical documents, and a mysterious child whose records had disappeared. Realizing the possibility was too important to ignore, she secretly contacted a respected doctor, asking for help uncovering the forgotten truth buried beneath years of painful silence. The doctor carefully reviewed old hospital files and compared them with newly discovered medical records. What he found shocked everyone involved. The evidence suggested that only one final DNA test could reveal the complete truth. When the billionaire received the doctor's unexpected request, he laughed at first. But deep inside, an unfamiliar feeling of fear began growing, as if his entire life was about to change forever. Although he believed the doctor's request was ridiculous, curiosity slowly defeated his pride. The billionaire agreed to provide a DNA sample, convinced the results would prove everyone wrong. While giving the sample, he mocked the entire investigation. Deep inside, however, an unexplained feeling of anxiety refused to disappear, as if fate was quietly preparing to expose a truth no amount of wealth could control. Several long days passed before the laboratory completed the analysis. Every hour felt heavier than the last. The doctor refused to discuss anything over the phone and insisted on delivering the report personally. His serious expression alone made everyone uncomfortable. Even before opening the sealed envelope, the billionaire sensed that his world was about to change forever. The doctor slowly unfolded the report and placed it on the desk. The room fell completely silent. The DNA results revealed that the unborn baby shared an undeniable biological connection with the billionaire's family. Further investigation proved that years earlier, after a tragic hospital mistake, a hidden family relationship had unknowingly been separated from him. The woman he had fired was not an outsider, she was part of his own family through a long-lost bloodline. The billionaire stared at the report without speaking. His hands trembled as memories of humiliating the pregnant maid replayed inside his mind. Every harsh word he had spoken echoed louder than before. For the first time in many years, money offered no comfort. He realized he had destroyed the life of the only innocent person who had never asked him for anything. Filled with regret, he immediately ordered his staff to find her. Investigators searched hospitals, shelters, train stations, and every address connected to her past. Days turned into weeks, but every search ended with the same heartbreaking answer. She had quietly disappeared, leaving behind no forwarding address and no message. It was as though she had vanished from the world. Far away, the young woman welcomed her baby into the world. The delivery was difficult, but she refused to lose hope. Holding her newborn for the first time, she whispered a promise that her child would always grow up surrounded by love instead of hatred. She never spoke about the mansion or the humiliation she had suffered, choosing peace over revenge. Months later, the bakery owners officially welcomed her into their family business. They admired her honesty, determination, and gentle heart. Customers loved her warm smile, never realizing the painful journey hidden behind it. Even with very little money, she built a home filled with kindness, proving that true wealth comes from compassion rather than luxury. The billionaire, meanwhile, became a different man. He no longer celebrated business victories or expensive achievements. Every empty room inside his mansion reminded him of the woman he had judged without listening. His employees noticed that he had become quieter, treating everyone with unexpected respect. Regret slowly transformed the proud businessman into a humble man searching for redemption. One rainy afternoon, an elderly customer entered the bakery carrying a familiar umbrella from the mansion. The billionaire's investigators had quietly asked local businesses to report anyone matching the woman's description. Without realizing it, the customer mentioned her remarkable kindness and pointed toward the small apartment where she lived with her child. Hope returned for the first time in months. The billionaire drove through heavy rain until he reached the modest apartment building. Standing outside the worn wooden door, his heart pounded harder than it ever had during any business deal. For several minutes, he couldn't bring himself to knock. He knew that no apology could erase the pain he had caused, but he also knew he had to face the consequences of his actions. With trembling hands, he finally knocked on the worn wooden door. It slowly opened, and the young mother stood there holding her baby. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence carried months of heartbreak, humiliation, and regret. She recognized him immediately, but instead of anger, there was only quiet exhaustion in her eyes. He lowered his head, unable to meet her gaze. "I didn't come to defend myself," he said softly. "I came to admit that I was wrong." His voice cracked with emotion. He apologized for judging her without listening, for destroying her livelihood, and for humiliating her in front of everyone. Every word came from a heart finally broken by the truth. Still, she remained silent, protecting her child in her arms. He carefully handed her the DNA report. She read every page, her eyes filling with tears. The hidden truth about their family connection finally made sense. Years ago, a tragic hospital mistake had separated relatives who never knew each other existed. Neither of them had caused the tragedy, yet both had suffered because of secrets buried for decades. The billionaire knelt before her, not as a wealthy businessman, but as a man asking for forgiveness. He offered financial support, a beautiful home, and complete security for her and the baby. She listened respectfully but refused to let money decide her future. Trust, she whispered, cannot be bought. It must be earned through actions. Determined to change, he began proving his sincerity. He established scholarships for children from struggling families, opened shelters for single mothers, and created fair working conditions for every employee in his company. For the first time, people admired him not because of his fortune, but because of the compassion he showed to those who needed it most. Weeks turned into months. The young mother watched his actions from a distance. Every promise he made was fulfilled. He visited regularly, not to pressure her, but simply to help, bringing groceries, reading children's books, and quietly repairing things around the small apartment. Slowly, the walls built by pain began to soften, the child grew healthy and cheerful, smiling every time the billionaire arrived. Those innocent smiles healed wounds that words never could. The young mother realized her child deserved to know kindness instead of bitterness. She decided that forgiveness did not erase the past, it allowed a better future to begin. Together, they visited the graves of family members whose long-hidden secrets had caused years of separation. Standing there, they promised never to allow pride, assumptions, or silence to destroy another generation. Tears fell freely, but this time they carried peace instead of sorrow. The truth had finally reunited what fate had once torn apart. Months later, the mansion looked completely different. Employees were treated with dignity, respect, and gratitude. No one feared speaking the truth anymore. The young mother accepted a leadership role in the family's charitable foundation, helping struggling parents rebuild their lives with hope, education, and opportunity. Her painful experience became the reason thousands of others found a second chance. One cruel decision had nearly destroyed 3 lives. A single DNA test revealed the truth, but it was humility, not wealth, that repaired the damage. The billionaire learned that judging someone without hearing their story can leave lifelong scars. The young mother proved that strength is measured by kindness, not revenge. Moral: never judge a person by rumors or appearances. Listen before you condemn, because the truth may be more powerful than anything you imagine. Compassion, humility, and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds, while pride and assumptions often destroy the people we should have protected.